Today I'm going to show you how to create a logo design in 9 easy, simple steps. I will break down the logo design process that I actually use for my clients, so if you ever hire me as your designer, this is the process that I take, and I personally use it on a daily basis. This guide will show my entire logo design process from start to finish, so you can have the confidence to create your first logo design for your client. If you're new, welcome to HanSelah, where I talk about all things to do with graphic design and running my own freelance graphic design business. Now, the first step in the logo design process is not sketching, not designing, not choosing colors, and not even doing research. The absolute first step in creating a functional, unique, and purposeful logo is understanding the client brief. So you've just received your brief from your client, and now it's time to read through their needs. Understand what they want, what their non-negotiables are, their ideal timeline, their preferred colors, fonts, potential reference images. Understand their target audience, their USP, which is their unique selling point, as well as any additional brand assets that they may require from you. For example, here's what an ideal client brief would sound like. The client requires a logo design for their wedding dress company. They want something feminine, intricate, and ethereal. Their target audience is bride-to-bes who are looking for custom wedding dress designs. They cater specifically for adventurous brides who enjoy Mother Nature. Their dresses are eclectic and free-flowing. They don't hire out their dresses. They only make custom and unique individual dresses on demand. So this means that their product is not ready-made. They have to specifically create their product according to each of their clients that come to them. Sorry, my little dog is playing with his toy, so if you hear any squeaking or foot taps, it's Ollie. In terms of colors, they're not too sure what they want, but they want something that is quite natural, quite ethereal, and something to do with Art Nouveau. They're quite drawn to that style. They are a premium wedding dress design service, and they cater for brides with larger budgets. Their overall project timeline is 6 to 8 weeks. Their business name is Bridalize, which is a mashup between the words bride and customize, and they only want a logo type, which means that they don't want any brand icon or visual or any sort of graphic in their logo. They just want their logo to be made of words. So that is the brief, the request from the client. Obviously, for this YouTube video, this is not a real company, it's not a real brief, it's not a real client. This is just solely to show you my logo design process. But let's just pretend that it's real. Now let's say they have accepted your quote, they have signed your contract. Make sure you always work with a contract. Never, ever, 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 ever do any sort of graphic design work without a contract. I will be making a video all about graphic design contracts in another video, so let's get back on track. And they have paid their deposit, so legally everything is in order and you are good to go. Now we get to the fun part and we begin the project, which leads us to step number 2, brand strategy. Brand strategy is a very important part of the logo design process. Well, actually the whole of the brand identity design process. In the strategy phase, your research will inform every single design decision that you make. During your brand strategy, you will do a lot of different research. We will analyze your client's competitors, do market research, learn and understand the target audience and the best way to speak to the target audience. So this may include creating things such as a user persona to get the most specific details of the target audience. It also puts yourself in the target audience's shoes, and it really gets you close to what they need and what will make their life better. Strategy helps us understand the creative direction and the creative approach, the brand's position, their messaging, their keywords, their unique selling point that they offer their consumers, how and where they can stand out and be different to their competitors, and loads of other points that will set them above and beyond to wow their consumers and build brand trust. Part of strategy, there is a bit of an overlap with step number 3, which is mind mapping. Mind mapping is probably the most underrated step of the logo design, brand identity design process. But it is also one of the most important steps, and this is one step that I would definitely not recommend skipping. Because mind mapping is about getting all your ideas down onto paper and making connections. Making connections is very important, because that's how we as designers can step out of the box, think of something new, create cutting-edge designs that completely blow our clients away. By mind mapping, you can figure out both the creative and the strategic approach that you want to take for your logo design. Mind mapping also helps generate ideas which you can use when you are generating your mood board, which is the next step of the process. So step 4, mood board. Creating a mood board is also an essential part of the logo design process. The mood board sets the overall general visual mood for the brand or the logo design. It shows colors, typography, the look and feel that you want to associate with the brand. This way the client has an idea of what the brand will look like once everything is done. When you're doing your mood board stage, generally what I do is I will create 2 different mood board approaches. I will then send those to the client and then get feedback on which one they prefer and which route to go with. This way the client knows exactly what to expect at the end of the project. Step number 5 is scamps and sketches. So there are 2 ways to go about step number 5, and the first is by sketching. After the client has approved their chosen mood board, then I begin to sketch on paper or using my iPad, and I use the mood board and the mind map that I've created as a reference to inform the decisions that I make in my sketches for the logo design. I try to refine my sketches as much as possible before moving to digital. By doing this, I can nail my concept in the sketching phase, so when I move to digital, it's a really streamlined process and it saves me a lot of time. If you have sketched on paper, you can either trace your sketch in Illustrator using the pen tool, or you can just redesign it using shapes. Now, the second route that you can take is if you already have a font in mind that you can see working for this brand or working for the logo. So instead of starting directly with your sketches, you start directly from that font in Illustrator. But remember, a font is not a logo. I say this in all my brand identity process videos. You need to manipulate or change that font in order to make it a custom logo. So you take that base font, you expand it so it will change into objects, which is shapes. And from there you can manipulate it and make it a beautiful logo. You can also decide to sketch if you want according to this font and then sketch your concept onto the font. So that's also another route that you can take. But you'll begin to manipulate the letters to match your visual and creative direction approach that you have laid out in the mood board and that client has seen. For this project, I already had a font in mind that I thought would really suit the client brief. So that is the route that I took for this process video. Which leads us to step number 6, which is design and digitalize. So if you went the sketching route and you finished your sketches, you then move it into digital, where I said you can use the pen tool or create it out of shapes. That's what you would do if you took route number 1. If you took route number 2, like what I did, this is where you begin to manipulate the type. And in this stage, you will finalize your design. Step number 7, once you've finalized your logo, then we move on to color. I always create my logos in black and white. I will never ever design and create a logo in any sort of colors until the logo is finished. Then I move on to color. I don't even think about colors until the end. Why? Because it's one more thing to think about and it makes the process more confusing. Adding color at an earlier stage makes it so much more harder because there are more choices and more decisions that you need to make. Sometimes the colors don't work well together and you think it's your whole design, but it's not the design, it's just the colors that you chose. So you want to make the logo process as simple and streamlined as possible for your decisions. After you've chosen your color palette and you've laid everything out, then we move on to the next step, which is ensuring that you have different logo variations. In today's world, designers have learned to create a variety of different responsive logo designs. These need to be responsive because we have different screen sizes, and we need logos to match those different screen sizes and resolutions. Usually there are 3 different logo designs that a designer will make or send to a client. The first one is primary, the second one is secondary, and the third one is your submark logo. You can also call it horizontal, compact, and icon. But when and where should these 3 logos be used? Well, as I said earlier, it depends on the placement. It depends on the screen size, the resolution. Where are you going to be putting this logo? For example, many brands use their submark logo, their icon logo or brand mark logo in their social media profile picture because it is so tiny, and a lot of the time if they have to put their full primary logo in there, it will look so small. So the submark logo just makes it a lot more recognizable and easier to read for smaller screens. Long horizontal primary logos are often used on formal communications such as on quotes or invoices or even on their websites. And compact logos, in my opinion, are probably the most versatile because they fit in a lot of different situations and scenarios. Always remember that those 3 different logo designs still need to look like they are the same logo from the same brand, same company. They should not look like 3 different companies' logos. So when and where should these logos actually be used? So I'm going to break it down. I've currently got open the Discord brand guidelines. This is the section about their logo symbol, their wordmark, and their taglines. So if you go to their logo, they have their Discord logo over here, which is comprised of their icon, like that, and their wordmark. So when you put the 2 of them together, it creates the Discord logo, like so. So this icon would actually probably be used for their favicon or for any social media profile pictures. So let's actually go to their Discord. See, there it is. They've got their favicon over here, and if you click in, they've got their main logo on their website. Another example is Burger King. If you look here at their logos in their brand style guide as well, this is their primary main logo. Obviously they had a rebrand recently, but this is their primary logo. This is their wordmark logo. So this would be more like their horizontal logo, and this would be their compact logo. This is a great example where you've got their compact logo that sits nicely on a signage beacon, and then they have their horizontal logo, which works much better for the top of their restaurants. They also have a favicon, which is slightly different. The favicon has to be something that's very simple and easy to recognize because it is very small. So this would be an example of favicon. Here they've got it mocked up on an Apple Watch because, again, the apps are so small. They need something that's a lot more recognizable. If they had to shrink this down to the size of a favicon, you would completely lose the words Burger King. So that's why they have just replaced it with the K. Here you can see all the different options, the color usage, and whatnot. So this is a great example of why we would have different versions of our logo and where it is most suitable for us to use them. For this logo, I only needed to create one primary logo and a submark logo because the primary logo is already quite compact and versatile as is. The final step of the logo design process is presentation. How you present your work to your client can literally make or break your client's experience and whether or not they say yes or no to your design. You must never just email a JPEG image of your logo design to your client. That is a big no-no. You cannot just do that and call it a day. You should be creating a beautifully considered client presentation. The care and effort put into your client presentation and how you present your work can be the difference between a yes and a no. Clients are not as creative as us designers, which is why they come to designers in the first place, so they can't visualize what we see. That's why it's always good to put your logo design on a mock-up so that they can visualize it in real life, in situation, what it could look like. This way your client can get a real feel for how their logo is going to look. For high quality mockups, I like to use the site Envato Elements. This is not sponsored, I just love to use them every day and they make it so easy because they have good quality mockups. I have left their link in the description of this video if you want to check out what they offer. And as part of presentation, one of the absolute final steps that I do is sometimes I will mock up some social media examples and templates with their logo on so that the client can have a look and feel for what it really is going to look like when they start their social media or their Instagram or Facebook or whatnot. So that is what I'm busy doing right now, and I started to generate a slight pattern out of the submark logo using the beautiful Art Nouveau curls in the letter B, and I just repeated that and turned it over to make a beautiful pattern. So now I'm finalizing all of these social media designs, as you can see them all here. Now the next step is to actually mock this up into a Instagram mockup. This mockup I got from Envato Elements. Like I said earlier, it's in the link in the description if you want to see more. So what I do is I like to lay out all of the different posts in Illustrator first, just so I know what the grid is going to look like and if it's actually going to look pretty. And then from there I drag and drop all of my images in as smart objects, obviously, into the Instagram mockup. And then from there I just rewrite the bio and I make it look like it's actually a real Instagram. I put their website, I make sure there's a little verified tick to make sure that it's like the legit business. And then for the presentation, I would actually put this on like a beautiful slide. So if I was doing the client presentation, I would make this long, beautiful presentation, but I'm not going to do it for this video. So I'm just going to show you guys like a little slideshow of all the different pages, but this would all be in a beautiful presentation. So this is the final project in 3, 2, 1. you have it, my full logo design process from start to finish. If you're a graphic designer, I want to know what your logo design process is, so let me know in the comments if you follow a similar route to me. We're all here to learn and grow together, and why should we gatekeep? So drop it in the comments and we can chat and discuss what everyone's process looks like. If you enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe if you want to see more creative graphic design content like this. I suggest watching this video if you want to know more about my graphic design processes. I hope you have a lovely day wherever you are in the world, and I'll see you soon. Bye!